The manga starts with a young woman who sits alone at night, quietly watching a pro wrestling match on television. The commentator loudly describes a dangerous flying move by a wrestler known as Eagle, a powerful man with a huge build. She becomes excited and emotionally invested, cheering for Eagle with all her heart. In her eyes, the match is not just entertainment, but a moment of hope and victory. The move fails at the last second and Eagle misses his target. The situation suddenly turns dangerous, and the momentum shifts against him. She grows anxious, fearing that her favorite wrestler might lose again. Just as the tension rises, the door opens unexpectedly. Startled, she quickly turns off the television, hiding what she was doing. Her husband enters the room. She immediately acts submissive and apologetic, pretending she was busy with housework. Despite her effort to please him, he reacts harshly. He physically abuses her and criticizes her for not meeting his expectations. She breaks down, apologizing repeatedly, while he continues to belittle her. He treats her like someone who constantly fails and assigns her points as if she is being judged every moment. Inside her mind, she reflects on her past. She remembers how she met him 3 years ago and how perfect he seemed to everyone. He had a great career, good looks, and a charming personality. Compared to him, she feels small and unworthy. She convinces herself that his harsh behavior is a form of love and guidance. She believes she must improve herself to deserve him. Later, she quietly continues her chores. Her thoughts drift back to the wrestling match she missed. When she finally turns the television on again, she learns that another wrestler, Masaru Shishido, has won. She feels a mix of disappointment and admiration. Pro wrestling has become her secret escape, giving her courage through the struggles in her life. Even though her favorite wrestler keeps losing, she continues to support him. The next day at work, her coworkers admire her neatly prepared lunch. She modestly explains that it is made from leftovers. Her colleagues praise her marriage and assume she lives a happy life. She responds politely, hiding the truth. Suddenly, her phone vibrates. She feels nervous, thinking it might be a message from her husband pointing out another mistake. Instead, she receives an email notification. She has won free tickets to a pro wrestling event. She feels surprised and excited. Even though her favorite wrestler will not be competing, the current champion will be there. She wants to go, but fear quickly follows. She doubts whether her husband will allow it. That evening, her husband sends a rare kind message, apologizing for his behavior and expressing affection. Encouraged by his softer tone, she decides to do her best to please him. She prepares an elaborate dinner, hoping to earn his approval. He reacts positively, rewarding her with more points, which gives her a small sense of relief. Gathering courage, she carefully brings up the idea of attending the wrestling event alone. She explains her plan in a cautious and respectful manner, making sure to reassure him that her responsibilities will not be affected. To her surprise, he agrees without resistance. She feels a moment of happiness and freedom. On the day of the event, she arrives at Korakuen Hall. The atmosphere feels overwhelming yet exciting. Sitting close to the ring, she feels nervous but also thrilled. She notices other women in the audience, which comforts her slightly. As the event begins, her thoughts remain divided. While she wants to enjoy the moment, she is constantly aware of time, worrying about returning home before her husband. Several hours pass, and the final match of the night reaches its climax. The intense battle stretches to 25 minutes, with neither wrestler willing to give up. The arena is filled with tension as both fighters push their limit. Suddenly, Masaru Shishido makes a decisive move and lands a powerful finishing attack, securing his victory. The crowd erupts with thunderous cheers, and the entire hall shakes with excitement. Tsubame sits in awe, completely overwhelmed by the experience. The sounds, the vibrations, and the energy of the live audience run through her entire body. For the first time, she truly feels the impact of professional wrestling. What she once watched secretly at home now feels alive and unforgettable. She realizes she has just witnessed an incredible match and begins to dream of one day seeing her favorite wrestler, Eagle, fight in person. At that very moment, Eagle suddenly appears in the arena. The atmosphere instantly shifts as the audience reacts with surprise and curiosity. He storms into the ring, creating tension between himself and the current champion. Their rivalry is well known, and his sudden presence adds drama to the event. However, when given the chance to speak, Eagle remains silent and passes the microphone to his ally. The message delivered on his behalf declares his intention to challenge for the championship in the future. Despite the bold claim, the crowd doubts him, questioning his strength and leadership. Tsubame, however, continues to believe in him without hesitation. In her heart, she trusts that Eagle will rise and succeed someday. For her, he represents strength and perseverance, something she desperately needs in her own life. After the event ends, she leaves the venue alone, still filled with excitement. She reflects on the night as one of the happiest moments she has ever experienced. However, her joy quickly turns into panic when she realizes how late it has become. She rushes to get home, afraid of facing consequences if she is late. Rain begins to fall as she hurries through the street. Without an umbrella, she gets drenched and feels even more vulnerable. While running, she notices a couple sharing an umbrella, walking closely together. The sight reminds her of the past, when her husband used to show small acts of kindness. For a brief moment, she feels a sense of longing. That feeling shatters instantly when she recognizes the man. It is her husband, walking intimately with another woman. Shock freezes her in place as memories flood her mind. She recalls the lies, the controlling behavior, and the way she convinced herself it was love. Even now, she tries to deny the truth, forcing herself to believe he would never betray her. But then she witnesses them kissing. In that instant, her entire world collapses. The illusion she has been holding onto breaks completely. Overwhelmed by pain, confusion, and despair, she feels physically sick. Her thoughts spiral as she questions everything, including her own worth and existence. As she cries in the rain, her body leans dangerously forward near the edge of the street. At that moment, Eagle happens to pass by and notices her unstable posture. Realizing the danger, he rushes forward to stop her from falling. Meanwhile, Tsubame's thoughts reach a breaking point. Part of her wants everything to end, but another part refuses to give up completely. Just as she slips, Eagle reaches her in time. She feels an impact and then loses awareness for a brief moment. When she regains consciousness, she believes she has survived by chance. At the same time, her husband continues walking with the other woman, completely unaware of what just happened. Their conversation reveals his manipulative and cruel nature even further, as he treats the situation casually and without guilt. Moments later, Eagle approaches him with anger and confrontation. However, something feels off. The reaction he receives is not what he expects. Confusion begins to grow as the situation becomes stranger. Then comes the shocking realization. Looking at a reflection, the truth becomes clear. Tsubame and Eagle have somehow switched bodies. The one who saved her was Eagle, but now their identities are no longer their own. As panic sets in, both of them struggle to understand what has just happened. Tsubame remembers a dream from long ago where she becomes a bird. In that dream, she feels completely free, gliding through the sky with the wind brushing against her body and the warmth of the sun surrounding her. The sensation feels so real and perfect that it hardly seems like a dream at all. That memory now contrasts sharply with her current reality. Back in the present, she regains awareness but realizes something is very wrong. She is no longer in her own body. Instead, she now exists inside Eagle's powerful frame. The cold air feels unfamiliar against her skin, and the size and strength of this body overwhelm her senses. Nearby, Eagle, now trapped inside her body, struggles to process the situation. He assumes it must be some kind of nightmare and tries to make sense of what is happening. As Tsubame looks down at her original body from the outside, she notices bruises she had grown used to ignoring. Seeing them from this new perspective shocks her. For the first time, she understands how others might have seen her suffering all along. The marks that once felt normal now appear painful and undeniable. Suddenly, Eagle notices people approaching nearby. Realizing they could be recognized, he quickly urges Tsubame to move. They rush toward a parked car, trying to avoid attention. In the confusion, Tsubame misunderstands the situation due to her anxiety and lack of experience, but Eagle hurriedly clarifies through his actions, guiding her to enter the vehicle quickly before anyone notices them. Inside the car, Tsubame catches her reflection and is startled again by Eagle's appearance. She apologizes awkwardly, explaining her hesitation comes from her usual fear and physical weakness. Eagle, now in her body, responds with equal humility, recognizing how intimidating his original appearance can be. This moment creates an unexpected sense of understanding between them. Eagle then focuses on the immediate problem. He attempts to treat the injuries on Tsubame's body while thinking about how dangerous their situation is. Both of them realize they cannot remain like this and must find a way to return to their original bodies. However, Eagle admits he has never experienced anything like this before and feels completely lost. Tsubame shares that she has experienced something similar once in a dream. In that instance, everything returned to normal after she woke up. Although uncertain, this small detail gives them a possible clue. She introduces herself properly, hoping that using her name will make the situation feel less strange and more real. Just then, her phone begins to vibrate. Eagle notices the late hour and assumes her family must be worried. However, Tsubame quietly reflects that her absence is only noticed because of her responsibilities, not genuine concern. Her words reveal the emotional weight she carries every day. She then expresses something deeply personal. She admits that Eagle has unknowingly given her strength for a long time. Watching his matches has helped her endure her struggles. Now, being inside his body, she realizes how much pain he carries as well, even outside the ring. His constant fighting, despite the physical toll, inspires her even more. This emotional confession surprises Eagle and distracts him enough to cause a minor accident with the car. The moment breaks their focus, bringing them back to reality. Soon after, Tsubame notices messages from her husband demanding to know her location and accusing her of betrayal. Instead of fear, a new determination begins to form within her. Inspired by Eagle's strength, she decides that she must also fight in her own way. Later, Eagle, still in Tsubame's body, arrives at her home. As expected, her husband reacts violently to her lateness. However, before the situation escalates further, Tsubame appears behind them, now in Eagle's body. Her presence signals a turning point, as the balance of power in her life finally begins to shift. Masato panics at the sight of a large man standing near him. Fear takes over his mind, and he immediately assumes danger. Instead of trying to understand the situation, he begins to act like a victim, calling for help and trying to shift blame. Meanwhile, Eagle, trapped inside Tsubame's body, attempts to calm him down, but his efforts fail due to Masato's growing panic. To control the situation, Tsubame, now inside Eagle's body, quickly steps forward and takes charge. She creates a believable story, pretending that Eagle is simply an old acquaintance. Using confidence and careful wording, she tries to ease Masato's suspicion while subtly asserting dominance. At the same time, she moves closer and quietly threatens him without making it obvious, hinting that she knows about his secret affair. Masato becomes visibly shaken. He tries to deny everything, pretending confusion, but the pressure begins to break him. Tsubame continues pushing, making it clear that his actions have consequences. Her tone and presence carry a weight that he is not used to facing. For the first time, the power dynamic shifts. Instead of controlling the situation, Masato finds himself cornered. In a sudden moment, Tsubame strikes him physically, reinforcing her warning. The impact is not just physical but symbolic. It represents years of suppressed anger finally surfacing. Masato immediately breaks down, apologizing repeatedly. His reaction reveals a harsh truth. He easily bows his head when facing someone stronger, yet he never showed the same humility toward Tsubame when she was vulnerable. Inside her thoughts, Tsubame realizes this clearly. She understands that his behavior has always been driven by power, not love. This realization deepens her internal conflict. Despite everything, part of her still struggles to let go. Masato then turns toward Eagle, who is still in Tsubame's body, believing he is speaking to his wife. He begins to justify his actions, blaming external pressure and claiming he never truly intended to betray her. His apology sounds desperate, filled with excuses rather than genuine accountability. Eagle listens in confusion, unable to fully grasp the emotional complexity of the situation. Later, the tension settles slightly. Masato steps outside to smoke, showing signs of stress. Inside, Eagle and Tsubame discuss what to do next. With no clear solution, Tsubame suggests waiting until morning, hoping that everything will return to normal just like her past dream. Eagle, however, questions whether returning to normal is truly the right outcome, especially considering her painful reality. Despite his concern, Tsubame chooses to believe in one more chance. She convinces herself that things might improve, even if the evidence suggests otherwise. Her decision reflects both hope and denial. As night deepens, Tsubame prepares to leave, still inside Eagle's body. Masato appears calmer and even expresses a desire to change, claiming that the earlier confrontation has opened his eyes. Tsubame acknowledges this, though her trust remains fragile. Inside her heart, she admits she cannot forgive everything yet, but she decides to try once more. Meanwhile, Eagle remains trapped in Tsubame's body inside the house. Masato suddenly grabs him with force, revealing a darker side beneath his earlier apologies. Eagle struggles but quickly realizes the limitation of Tsubame's physical strength. The body he now inhabits cannot resist effectively, leaving him vulnerable. The situation becomes increasingly dangerous. Masato's behavior shifts from regret to control once again, exposing the cycle of abuse that Tsubame has endured for so long. At the same time, Tsubame drives away, trying to calm her thoughts. She plays music and reflects on everything that has happened. For a brief moment, she allows herself to believe that Masato might truly change. However, back at the house, that hope is shattered. Masato's true nature resurfaces completely as he attacks Eagle without hesitation. The illusion of remorse disappears, revealing a terrifying reality. The night ends with violence, leaving both Tsubame and Eagle trapped in a situation far more dangerous than before. Eagle, still trapped in Tsubame's body, slowly regains consciousness. His head throbs and his vision feels blurred. Before he can fully understand what is happening, Masato's voice cuts through the silence, filled with anger and suspicion. The atmosphere is tense and suffocating. Masato continues his violent outburst, accusing and attacking without listening. Eagle tries to respond, attempting to explain the situation, but his words carry no weight. In this fragile body, he feels completely powerless. Every movement feels weak, every attempt to resist fails. For the first time, he truly understands how helpless Tsubame has been all along. Inside his thoughts, he realizes a painful truth. This body, which once seemed small and unremarkable, now feels like a prison. Against someone like Masato, it offers no strength, no defense. He compares Masato to a monster, not just because of physical power, but because of the overwhelming control he holds. At the same time, Tsubame, who is now in Eagle's body, sits alone in the car, listening to the radio. The calm environment contrasts sharply with the chaos happening elsewhere. Suddenly, something shifts. A strange sensation runs through her, and in the next moment, Eagle finds himself back in his original body. He looks at his hands, confused but relieved. The strength and familiarity return instantly. However, his relief quickly turns into urgency as memories flood back. He recalls being attacked earlier and realizes that Tsubame is now alone again in that dangerous situation. Meanwhile, back at the house, Tsubame has also returned to her original body. Her thoughts become quiet and distant. Instead of panic or resistance, she chooses emotional numbness. She convinces herself to shut down her feelings completely, as if that is the only way to survive. Masato continues his controlling behavior, criticizing and belittling her appearance. His words reflect the same pattern of dominance and manipulation. Tsubame does not respond with emotion. Instead, she retreats deeper herself, trying to endure everything silently. Suddenly, Eagle arrives at the house. Determined and worried, he calls out for Tsubame, desperate to make sure she is safe. His presence immediately disrupts the situation. Masato reacts with irritation, seeing him as an obstacle once again. Inside, Tsubame is forced to act quickly. Under pressure, she approaches the door. When she opens it, she presents a calm and composed front. She assures Eagle that everything is fine, even though it clearly is not. Her voice and expression hide the pain she is going through. Eagle senses something is wrong. He tries to insist on helping, even considering calling the authorities. However, Tsubame stops him. She prioritizes avoiding further conflict over her own safety. She thanks him for helping her before and gently pushes him away, asking him to leave. Her decision is not based on trust, but on fear and habit. She believes enduring the situation quietly is easier than escalating it. Eagle struggles to accept this, but he cannot force his way in. Left with no choice, he slowly steps back. He calls out one last time, hoping she will change her mind, but the door remains closed. The silence that follows feels heavy and final. Eagle returns to his car, defeated but not at peace. As he sits there, the radio continues to play, but his mind is elsewhere. He knows that even though their bodies have returned to normal, nothing else has truly changed. 2 weeks pass, but the emotional weight of recent events still lingers. Eagle continues his daily routine, yet something feels off. During a car ride after training, Goto notices his lack of focus and points it out. Eagle acknowledges it quietly, but inside, his thoughts remain scattered. With an important match approaching in 2 days, he knows he should be sharpening his skills, reviewing past performances, and preparing mentally. Instead, his mind keeps drifting. On the way home, he notices an elderly man struggling to cross the road. For a moment, Eagle hesitates, assuming someone else will step in. Just as he pauses, another person rushes forward and helps the man safely across. Relief washes over him, but it quickly turns into frustration. He realizes that if no one had acted, the situation could have ended badly. This moment reminds him of his own hesitation in the past, especially when Tsubame needed help. Her words echo in his mind, pushing him to confront an uncomfortable truth. He begins to resent his own inaction and weakness. Despite his strength in the ring, he feels powerless in real life when it matters most. Later, after arriving home, Eagle sits quietly in his car, trying to clear his thoughts. As he drinks water, the bottle cap slips and falls outside. He steps out to retrieve it, briefly reflecting on how even simple tasks can feel inconvenient with his large physique. It is a small moment, but it highlights his growing awareness of himself beyond wrestling. At the same time, Tsubame's life continues in a painful routine. Masato prepares to leave the house, claiming he has work, but his behavior suggests otherwise. When Tsubame asks about dinner, he reacts harshly and lashes out again. The food she prepared with care is dismissed and wasted. Even so, she continues to act as if nothing is wrong, forcing herself to smile and maintain normalcy. Inside her thoughts, however, she sees through his lies. She understands that his excuses hide the truth, yet she remains trapped in the cycle, unable to confront him directly. Then, an unexpected knock interrupts the silence. Tsubame hesitates before opening the door, unsure of who it could be. When she finally looks outside, she is shocked to see Eagle standing there. Panic immediately sets in. She fears the consequences if Masato returns and finds him there. Eagle quickly explains his purpose through his actions. He has come to return something important that was left behind during their body swap. He reveals the wedding ring, which had been forgotten in his car. The sight of it stirs something deep within Tsubame. She looks at her empty hand and realizes that neither she nor Masato even noticed its absence. That realization hits harder than expected. It becomes clear to her that the bond symbolized by that ring has already faded. Eagle gently expresses concern and encourages her to seek help from someone, anyone she can trust. His message is simple but sincere. He does not push further and prepares to leave, choosing to respect her space. As he walks away, something inside Tsubame finally breaks. The quiet endurance she maintained for so long can no longer hold. She rushes out, stopping him before he can go. For the first time, she reaches out, not with denial, but with a genuine plea for help. Tsubame remembers a quiet memory from the past, when she and Masato sit together on a sofa, sharing peaceful moments and talking about nothing important. That memory feels warm and safe, but it quickly fades as reality hits again. In the present, Masato loses control and attacks her, accusing her of betrayal and threatening to trap her completely. His words and actions grow more violent, pushing her to the edge. At that moment, Eagle rushes in, determined to save her. Tsubame, exhausted and broken, finally admits that she cannot endure this life anymore. Seeing her condition, Eagle makes a quick decision and urges her to leave immediately. Without wasting time, they escape together. Inside the car, Tsubame feels anxious and keeps thinking about Masato. She fears that he might come after them at any moment. Eagle, however, remains firm and reassures her through his calm presence. Even so, her mind drifts back to her wedding day. She remembers her mother's joyful expression and heartfelt blessing, believing she had found happiness. Overcome with guilt, she silently apologizes for how everything has turned out. Soon, they arrive at Eagle's home. The place feels empty, with almost no furniture. Eagle explains through his actions that he is rarely home due to constant travel for wrestling events, so he keeps his living space simple. He offers her a place to rest, even though he is about to leave again for another trip. While preparing, he realizes he might not even have proper bedding for a guest, which creates an awkward but human moment. Tsubame reflects on her situation. Despite the uncertainty, she feels a strange sense of relief. At the very least, she is no longer being hurt. For now, that is enough. 2 days later, Eagle returns after another match, carrying frustration and disappointment. His recent losing streak weighs heavily on him, and he begins to doubt himself. As he enters his home, he finds Tsubame waiting. Her presence creates a quiet but comforting atmosphere. He notices her simple meal and realizes how different her life has become in just a few days. Tsubame, however, appears calmer than before. She has used this time to think clearly about her future. With quiet determination, she decides that she will divorce Masato and finally end the cycle of abuse. Just as she gathers the courage to move forward, her phone rings. It is her mother, who sounds worried and confused after hearing that Tsubame suddenly left home. Tsubame prepares herself to explain everything honestly, but before she can, Masato appears during the call. His tone shifts, pretending to be calm and reasonable, while revealing that Tsubame's mother is currently with him. This instantly changes everything. Tsubame realizes that her mother might be in danger, and without hesitation, she decides to go back. Meanwhile, Eagle waits nearby, ready to step in if things turn dangerous. He considers possible actions, even preparing himself to break in if necessary, though he hopes it will not come to that. Back at the house, tension rises. Tsubame's mother notices the bruises on her and begins to question her, but instead of understanding, she sides with Masato. Misled by his behavior, she believes that Tsubame is the one at fault. Masato manipulates the situation further, acting like a victim while shifting blame onto her. Tsubame tries to speak and explain the truth, but no one listens. The same painful pattern repeats, leaving her voice unheard once again. Finally, something inside her snaps. When Masato tries to pull her back into his control, she reacts for the first time without fear. She breaks free in a bold and unexpected way, creating an opening. Without looking back, she runs away, choosing escape over silence. Tsubame runs through the park in a state of emotional collapse, her breathing uneven and her thoughts scattered. She reaches Eagle, but her frustration and pain overflow before she can even organize her words. The weight of being ignored, dismissed, and misunderstood by everyone around her finally breaks her composure. She feels as if her voice has no value, as if her existence is too small for anyone to truly acknowledge. That belief cuts deep, making her question whether her suffering is simply because she is seen as weak. Overwhelmed, she suddenly turns and runs away again, unable to face her own vulnerability. Eagle watches her, sensing how fragile she has become, yet also noticing a dangerous spark growing inside her. Tsubame stops near a tree and, in a reckless surge of emotion, begins climbing it. Her actions are unstable, driven by desperation rather than logic. Eagle quickly moves to stop her, realizing that she is not thinking clearly. From the top, Tsubame reaches a breaking point. She no longer wants to be the person who endures everything silently. The fear that once controlled her begins to fade, replaced by a desperate desire to be heard, no matter the cost. Her past suffering flashes through her mind, reminding her that she has already survived countless moments close to death. That realization twists into a dangerous kind of courage. In a shocking moment, she throws herself from the tree. Eagle reacts instantly, preparing to catch her before she hits the ground. The intensity of the moment shifts everything, symbolizing her decision to stop being passive and start fighting back, even if it means taking extreme risk. Elsewhere, Masato grows increasingly irritated as he searches for her. He contacts Tsubame's mother, confirming that she has not returned home. His frustration builds, revealing how little concern he truly has for her safety. Instead, he focuses on control, treating her disappearance as an inconvenience rather than a crisis. Suddenly, Tsubame appears before him, but her presence feels different. She carries herself with a boldness he has never seen before. Instead of shrinking under pressure, she confronts him directly, exposing the cruel system he imposed on her. She recalls how he constantly judged her, assigning value to her actions as if she were nothing more than an object to evaluate. Every small mistake, every perceived flaw, became a reason for punishment. This time, she refuses to accept that role. The fear that once kept her silent is gone. In a powerful act of defiance, she physically destroys part of the environment around her, breaking the illusion of control Masato maintained. Her actions clearly show that she is no longer willing to obey or submit. Later, in a quieter moment, the emotional tension transforms into something lighter. There is a brief sense of release as both she and Eagle process what has just happened. Tsubame takes a symbolic step forward by throwing away her wedding ring, letting it disappear into the river. That single act represents the end of her past and the beginning of a new chapter. She imagines a future free from the suffocating life she once endured. Back at home, things finally begin to stabilize. Tsubame checks her phone and discovers that she has successfully secured a part-time job. This small victory brings genuine happiness, as it represents independence and the first step toward rebuilding her life. She starts thinking practically about the future, including finding a place to live and resolving the divorce properly. Eagle supports her quietly, offering reassurance without making her feel dependent. His presence provides stability, allowing her to move forward at her own pace. However, just as things begin to improve, reality interrupts again. The doorbell rings, breaking the calm atmosphere. When Tsubame opens the door, two police officers stand outside. They present an arrest warrant related to trespassing and property damage, connected to the earlier confrontation. The consequences of her actions finally catch up to her, bringing a new challenge that she must now face. The situation quickly turns serious as the police take Eagle into custody. Despite the complicated circumstances, they focus only on the visible damage he caused. To them, the case looks simple, and they treat him like someone who acted out of control. While questioning him, they make careless assumptions, even mocking his emotional state. When Eagle begins to cry, the officers react with confusion and amusement instead of understanding. His appearance does not match the way he expresses pain, and that contrast becomes something they ridicule. Eagle quietly reflects on this moment. It has been a long time since he has felt emotions this strongly, yet even now, his feelings are not taken seriously. Instead of empathy, he receives judgment, which only deepens his sense of isolation. The situation highlights how misunderstood he is, no matter which body he is in. At the same time, two of Eagle's acquaintances arrive at his place, confused about his sudden disappearance. They expect to find him resting or avoiding practice, but instead they are met with silence. Their casual attitude contrasts with the serious situation unfolding elsewhere, showing how disconnected everyone is from the truth of what is happening. Meanwhile, back at home, Tsubame faces Masato once again. This time, however, her approach is completely different. Instead of resisting, she takes all the blame onto herself. She presents the situation as her own fault, protecting Eagle by claiming that he only acted because of her confusion. Her words are careful and controlled, as if she is trying to calm a dangerous situation rather than express the truth. Masato's reaction shifts unexpectedly. His anger softens, and he begins to act gentle and concerned. He notices her fragile condition and speaks as if he truly cares about her well-being. This sudden change creates a confusing atmosphere, where kindness and control mix together in an unsettling way. He offers comfort and suggests moving forward peacefully, creating the illusion that things can return to normal. As they sit together, Tsubame feels conflicted. For a brief moment, she sees a version of Masato that reminds her of the past, someone who once felt warm and safe. That memory pulls at her emotions, making her question everything. She begins to cry, finally releasing the pain she has been holding inside for so long. All the fear, suffering, and helplessness she endured come pouring out. Masato responds with an apology, blaming his behavior on stress and responsibility. He frames his actions as temporary mistakes, promising that things will improve from now on. His words sound reassuring, and he reinforces them by expressing love, attempting to rebuild trust. Tsubame, still overwhelmed, makes a single request. She asks him to drop the charges against Eagle, insisting that he did nothing wrong. Even in this moment, she prioritizes protecting someone else over herself. Masato appears to agree at first, maintaining his calm demeanor. However, the illusion quickly breaks. His behavior shifts again, revealing the same underlying control and danger. In that instant, Tsubame realizes the truth she has been avoiding. Deep inside, she understands that no matter how sincerely she tries to communicate, there are people who cannot be reasoned with. This realization settles heavily within her, marking a painful but important step in her awareness. The story continues with rising tension as both sides face critical moments at the same time. At the police station, Eagle is escorted for another round of questioning. The officers treat the situation casually, bringing up his career in wrestling as if it is entertainment rather than something serious. One of them recalls watching wrestling in the past and reduces Eagle's actions to a simple display of dominance. They assume he destroyed the furniture to show power, completely misunderstanding his intentions. Eagle internally rejects this idea. To him, wrestling is not about showing off strength but about risking everything in a controlled fight. However, his perspective is dismissed. The officer laughs it off, claiming that wrestling is staged and therefore meaningless. This moment highlights the gap between how Eagle sees his life and how others perceive it. As they walk down the stairs, the situation suddenly shifts. One of the officers loses his footing and begins to fall. Eagle reacts instantly, moving forward without hesitation to prevent serious injury. Even in custody, his instinct is to protect others, showing his true nature through action rather than word. At the same time, back at the house, Tsubame faces an even more dangerous situation. Masato's brief moment of kindness completely disappears, replaced by anger and control. He violently pushes her aside, revealing that nothing has truly changed. The illusion of reconciliation breaks, and the threat becomes real again. This time, however, Tsubame does not remain silent. She takes out her phone and prepares to fight back in a different way. Instead of physical resistance, she uses evidence and planning. She reveals that she has prepared a message connected to a large number of people, including those tied to Masato's work and personal life. Hidden camera footage is already saved and ready to be exposed, documenting his actions. Her strategy is clear. If he continues, she can destroy his reputation completely. For the first time, she holds power in a situation where she was always powerless. This forces Masato into a corner, even if only briefly. She then pushes further, trying to force him to go to the police station and withdraw the report against Eagle. Her focus remains on protecting him, even while she is in danger herself. She directs Masato toward what he needs, attempting to maintain control of the situation through pressure and urgency. However, things do not go as planned. As she searches for the necessary item, hesitation creates an opening. Masato quickly regains control and grabs her. The balance of power shifts again in an instant. He forcefully takes her phone and throws it away, removing the evidence she relied on. At that exact moment, both events collide. Eagle reaches out to save the falling officer, while Tsubame desperately moves toward her phone. Their actions align in perfect timing, triggering another sudden body swap between them. The aftermath is immediate and unsettling. Masato, now facing Eagle and Tsubame's body, continues his controlling behavior without realizing the change. He asserts dominance, believing he has regained full control of the situation. But this time, the presence inside that body is different. Eagle is now the one standing in front of him, and the dynamic is about to change once again. Right after a massive crash, the police rush to check on the situation. In the middle of the chaos, Tsubame suddenly realizes something is wrong. He hears unfamiliar voices and feels a strange heaviness in his body. Panic quickly sets in as he understands the terrifying truth. He and Eagle have switched bodies again. This realization hits him hard because he knows Eagle is now trapped in a dangerous situation. At the same time, Eagle, now inside Tsubame's body, faces Masato. Masato misunderstands the expression on Eagle's face and assumes it is a challenge. Instead of calming down, Masato begins to emotionally and mentally attack, revealing his toxic mindset. He convinces himself that everything he does is justified, claiming he only wants a perfect relationship. His words show how controlling and manipulative he truly is, blaming the victim for everything while ignoring his own cruelty. Despite the situation, Eagle remains calm on the outside. Deep inside, however, he clearly understands that Masato is the real problem. The tension escalates when Masato becomes more aggressive, crossing the line into physical abuse. Just as things get worse, an unexpected interruption occurs. Masato's father arrives at the house. The father immediately senses something is off. He notices the noise and the unlocked door, showing concern about the situation. Masato quickly changes his behavior and acts obedient, trying to hide what has been happening. His father does not stay long and explains that he only comes for a quick visit. He hands over an envelope and reminds Masato about responsibilities related to their family and company, indicating that something serious is going on behind the scenes. Meanwhile, at the police station, Tsubame remains stuck in Eagle's body. He feels overwhelmed and anxious. He realizes that if things continue like this, Eagle might end up taking the blame for something he did not do. Tsubame struggles to think of a way to explain the body swap, knowing that no one would believe such an unbelievable story. Fortunately, the officers decide to send him back to his room for the time being, giving him a small moment to breathe. Back at the house, Masato's father discusses important matters over the phone, focusing on reputation and business concerns. It becomes clear that he prioritizes the family's image over everything else. After finishing, he prepares to leave, treating the situation as something minor. At this point, Eagle gathers courage and tries to reveal the truth. He expresses gratitude first, then carefully attempts to explain the abuse. He makes it clear that what happened is not just a simple argument but a repeated pattern of violence. Eagle exposes the reality of the situation, hoping that Masato's father will finally understand and step in. However, the response he receives is disappointing. Instead of acknowledging the seriousness of the abuse, the father dismisses it as a normal issue between a married couple. He believes the problem lies in a lack of patience rather than recognizing the harm being done. This reaction shocks Eagle, who cannot believe that such clear evidence is being ignored. Desperate, Eagle shows the physical bruises as proof. He hopes that visible injuries will finally make the truth undeniable. But even this does not change the father's attitude. Rather than showing concern, he reacts with indifference and even criticizes the act of revealing the injuries. This moment highlights the harsh reality Eagle is facing. Not only is he trapped in a violent situation, but even those who have the power to help choose to ignore it. The scene ends with a deep sense of frustration and helplessness, as both Eagle and Tsubame remain stuck in their swapped bodies, each dealing with dangers they cannot easily escape. Before leaving the house, Masato's father delivers a final warning. He reminds Masato that the company has high expectations from him and pressures him not to create any more problems. His tone reflects authority and control, making it clear that reputation matters more than anything else. He even offers financial support if needed, but his last remark reveals his true mindset, as he instructs Masato to keep his wife under control. Masato obediently accepts, showing how deeply he is influenced by his father's expectations. After the father leaves, the atmosphere becomes heavy and suffocating. Eagle, still trapped in Tsubame's body, sits alone and feels completely drained. His body refuses to move, and the words he just heard weigh heavily on his mind. In this quiet moment, fragments of Tsubame's memories begin to surface. He recalls how she hides her scars by wearing long sleeves, even in hot weather, pretending it is for sun protection. Beneath that excuse lies the painful truth that those scars are permanent reminders of her suffering. More memories follow, revealing Tsubame's personality. Despite her pain, she tries to act strong and fearless, even joking about small things like dealing with a cockroach as if it were a battle. These moments show her resilience, but also highlight how much she has been silently enduring. Eagle begins to understand her life more deeply, realizing the emotional weight she carries every day. At the same time, Tsubame, still in Eagle's body, regains awareness. She notices that it is still dark and quickly realizes that their bodies have not switched back yet. This thought fills her with anxiety, as she understands that both of them are still trapped in each other's lives, facing dangers they cannot control. The next morning brings another tense moment. Masato approaches the cabinet where he had locked Tsubame's body the previous night. He expects to find her still inside, assuming she has spent the night reflecting on everything. However, when he opens it, he is shocked to discover that it is empty. Panic immediately sets in as he realizes something has gone wrong. Meanwhile, Eagle has already escaped. Now outside and alone, he struggles to figure out what to do next. With no one to rely on and nowhere safe to go, he feels completely lost. As he wanders, another memory surfaces, this time from his own past. He recalls someone comforting him during a moment of weakness, telling him that being bullied does not make him weak. Those words remind him that the real weakness lies in those who harm others. This memory gives him a small sense of strength, even in his current situation. Sometime later, the situation finally shifts again. Tsubame returns to her own body and slowly regains consciousness. She finds herself in an unfamiliar place, realizing that she is no longer in the detention center or Masato's house. Her body aches, suggesting that she has gone through a lot physically and emotionally. As she tries to process everything, a girl nearby notices that she is awake and guides her to drink some water. Confused and cautious, Tsubame begins to question who this person is and where she has been brought. The scene ends with uncertainty, leaving both Tsubame and Eagle in fragile situations, still searching for safety and answers. Tsubame is slowly recovering in a safe place, but her mind remains restless. As she looks at the girl in front of her, she feels a strange sense of familiarity. Even though she is certain they have never met before, something about the girl feels known. The girl gently encourages her to drink water, not just out of care, but because helping others seems to bring her comfort. Meanwhile, Masato's life begins to move forward in a completely different direction. His father informs him about a major opportunity at the company. Due to a sudden vacancy caused by someone's declining health, Masato is being considered for an executive position. Although Masato initially feels it might be too early, his father reassures him that he has already earned trust over the years. However, even in this important moment, his father repeats the same toxic expectation, reminding him to keep his wife under control before the official announcement. Masato agrees without hesitation, showing how deeply he follows this mindset. Back at the safe house, the girl begins to reveal more about herself and the situation. She explains that she already knows most of what happened from the previous day. She introduces a connection to Olga Yamamoto, a former wrestler who now works as a chiropractor. The girl also shares a strange observation about Tsubame's eyes, explaining that when Tsubame first arrived, her eyes felt like someone else's, but now they seem different. This hints at the body-swapping mystery, though the girl does not fully understand it yet. Tsubame, overwhelmed but sincere, admits that she is alive because of Eagle, showing how much she relies on him now. At the same time, Eagle continues wandering alone, worried about Tsubame's safety. His thoughts are interrupted when Tsubame finally finds him. Their reunion brings a sense of relief, as both of them confirm they are safe for now. Tsubame explains that she has been staying at Olga's place and helping at the chiropractic clinic. She also shares that Olga has invited Eagle for dinner, offering a temporary sense of peace and shelter. As they walk together, Eagle notices Tsubame still wearing clothes that hide her scars. Tsubame admits she feels uneasy and fears that Masato might find them. However, Eagle's mindset has changed. Instead of running away, he now feels ready to confront the danger directly, showing his growing determination to protect her. On the other side, Masato begins searching for Tsubame. He contacts multiple people and sends messages, but receives no response. His frustration grows as he realizes he has lost control. Instead of reflecting on his actions, he convinces himself that Tsubame cannot survive without him and becomes determined to bring her back, not out of love, but out of control and obsession. Later, Tsubame spends more time at Olga's place, where she begins to feel slightly more at ease. Olga approaches her with a calm and supportive attitude. Tsubame expresses guilt for staying there for so long, but Olga reassures her that she is welcome, especially since she is helping out. The conversation then shifts to something more serious. Tsubame wonders if the evidence they have could lead to Masato's arrest. Olga, however, warns her that such cases are complicated. She explains that someone like Masato could easily twist the situation to avoid punishment. Because of this, she advises waiting for the perfect moment to use their evidence effectively. At the same time, Olga observes Eagle from a distance and immediately senses something special about him, almost like a parental instinct. Later, Olga approaches Eagle directly and notices his unusual excitement. Eagle reveals that he has an upcoming title match against a champion named Shishido. For him, this is not just a fight, but a dream come true. Olga quickly reminds him to stay focused, emphasizing that he is not a fan watching from the sidelines, but the one stepping into the ring. In a heartfelt moment, Eagle gives Tsubame an envelope, inviting her to watch his match. Tsubame feels unsure, thinking she does not belong in such a place, but Eagle insists. For him, this fight is deeply personal, and he wants her to be there to witness it. The scene closes with a sense of hope mixed with tension, as both of them prepare to face their challenges ahead. The day of the big match arrives, where tension fills the arena. Tsubame stands among the crowd, determined to support Eagle with everything she has. Even though fear and uncertainty still linger inside her, she chooses to believe in him and silently promises to cheer him on until the end. Inside the ring, the fight quickly turns intense. Both fighters push themselves to their limits, exchanging heavy blows without holding back. The energy of the crowd rises as the battle becomes more brutal. However, it soon becomes clear that there is a gap in skill. Eagle struggles to keep up against his powerful opponent, and the situation begins to look hopeless. Despite this, Eagle refuses to fall easily. His body moves almost instinctively, driven by pure determination. From the outside, his condition looks strange, as his eyes appear empty, almost as if he is fighting without full awareness. Tsubame notices this and begins to worry, questioning whether Eagle is even conscious at this point. As the match reaches its peak, Eagle gathers the last of his strength. In a desperate but powerful moment, he climbs onto the post, risking everything on one final move. The crowd holds its breath as he launches himself forward, delivering a decisive attack. The impact shocks everyone, and in that instant, the match is decided. After a long and exhausting battle, Eagle is declared the winner. The arena erupts, though not everyone is satisfied with the result. Some spectators express disappointment, having expected a different outcome. Still, victory belongs to Eagle. At that exact moment, something unexpected happens again. Tsubaime and Eagle suddenly switch bodies. Now, Tsubaime finds herself inside Eagle's injured body, standing in the ring as the new champion. Her mind races as she struggles to process what just happened. At the same time, Eagle, now in Tsubaime's body, feels the damage from the fight and realizes he can barely move his arm. Back in the ring, Tsubaime is handed the microphone. The entire arena waits for the champion to speak, expecting confidence and pride. Instead, Tsubaime feels overwhelmed. She panics, knowing she must act like Eagle but unsure of what to say. She manages to thank the audience and express simple gratitude, but her tone feels different from what people expect. The crowd reacts with confusion, sensing something unusual. Even those close to Eagle begin to notice that his behavior is not the same. As the moment continues, Tsubaime tries to explain herself, blaming her condition on the intense match. However, the tension remains. It becomes clear that maintaining Eagle's identity in front of everyone will not be easy, especially under so much attention. Tsubaime experiences a disturbing dream about her wedding, but what begins as a joyful moment quickly turns into a nightmare, forcing her to wake up in fear and confusion. The emotional weight of the dream lingers as she tries to distract herself. Soon after, she watches a horror-themed variety show featuring Eagle and Ogla. The show presents Eagle in a humiliating situation, hiding while being mocked and pushed into entertainment. He clearly finds uncomfortable. Ogla continues encouraging him in an overly cheerful yet insensitive manner, focusing only on boosting the organization's popularity. Meanwhile, Tsubaime scrolls through online reactions and notices that the show is gaining attention and positive feedback. Despite the growing success, there is a clear contrast between public perception and Eagle's internal struggle. At that moment, Tsubaime receives an email from Masato. Her expression darkens as she reads it, and she immediately realizes that nothing he says can repair the damage between them. She decides she must cut off all contact and even considers blocking his email entirely. The situation escalates when the email reveals a serious threat. Masato claims he has compromising photos and plans to expose them publicly, creating a scandal that would destroy Eagle's reputation. He demands that Tsubaime meet him alone at a cafe, making it clear that refusal will lead to consequences. The message is manipulative and cruel, designed to corner her emotionally. Back at the show, Ogla notices the rising popularity of Eagle's appearances and expresses excitement about ticket sales improving. Eagle responds with uncertainty, acknowledging the impact but still appearing uneasy. The growing fame feels less like success and more like pressure. Tsubaime, overwhelmed but determined, hides her distress from Eagle when he notices something is wrong. She insists that she is fine, refusing to burden him while he is already dealing with his own challenges. Internally, she struggles with fear but reaches a turning point. She becomes tired of running away and decides that the situation must end. She resolves to confront Masato directly and settle things once and for all, believing that avoiding the problem will only make it worse. The next day, Tsubaime arrives at the cafe alone, facing Masato. He lays out his demands clearly, pressuring her to hand over certain data in exchange for keeping the photos private. He frames himself as forgiving, despite accusing her of betrayal, and attempts to manipulate her emotions further. Tsubaime, however, firmly rejects his accusations and refuses to accept his version of events. Masato then shifts tactics, bringing up the idea of rebuilding their relationship and even starting a family. He presents this as a hopeful future, trying to pull her back into his control. Tsubaime stands there, caught between anger, pain, and determination, realizing that this confrontation is not just about the photos, but about finally breaking free from his influence. Masato appears unusually cheerful as he prepares for his next project, showing clear excitement about working with Takkan. A colleague notices his good mood and casually acknowledges the upcoming collaboration. Internally, however, Masato's thoughts remain fixated on Tsubaime, revealing that despite everything, he is still emotionally attached in a possessive and unhealthy way. At the same time, Tsubaime arrives at a quiet place, burdened by overwhelming thoughts. She reflects on Masato's harsh words, where he labeled her as useless and dependent, and those insults begin to consume her mind. She silently accepts the blame, convincing herself that she truly lacks basic skills and independence. Her thoughts spiral as she recalls how she failed to stand her ground, lost the argument, and allowed Masato to take the video. This failure deepens her self-doubt, making her feel completely incapable of handling even simple tasks. The weight of these feelings pushes her into a dark emotional state where she begins to question her own worth and existence. In the middle of this breakdown, Tsubaime receives a phone call from her mother. Hearing a familiar and caring voice causes her emotions to overflow, and she struggles to hide her tears. Her mother gently checks on her well-being, asking if she is eating properly and living comfortably. However, the conversation takes a painful turn when her mother mentions Masato, encouraging her to value him and stay devoted to him for life. This advice, given with good intentions, only deepens Tsubame's pain, as it reinforces the pressure she is already struggling under. Elsewhere, Ogla grows concerned about Tsubame's sudden disappearance. She informs Eagle that Tsubame has not returned and cannot be contacted, which raises alarm. Eagle immediately senses that something is wrong and decides to act without hesitation. Ignoring everything else around him, he rushes out and gets into his car, determined to find her. His instincts tell him that Tsubame is in danger, possibly forced into a situation by Masato. While driving, Eagle loses control momentarily when a bird crosses his path, leading to a sudden disorientation. When he regains awareness, he finds himself on a metro train, where he spots Tsubame. The atmosphere feels tense and surreal as he approaches her. Tsubame appears distant and emotionally detached, as if she has already made a decision. She reveals through her demeanor and actions that she has reached a final moment in her life. Her words and expression carry a sense of farewell, indicating that she believes everything will end soon. Eagle realizes the seriousness of the situation, understanding that she is standing at the edge of a life-altering decision, and that he may be her only chance to stop what comes next. Eagle confronts Tsubame in shock, unable to understand why she is talking about ending everything. At the same time, Tsubame's thoughts reveal the depth of her pain. She believes that if she disappears, Masato will suffer forever for pushing his wife towards suicide. She also convinces herself that her death will free everyone from the burden she thinks she has become. In her mind, this is not just escape, but a twisted form of justice and release. Eagle desperately tries to reach her emotionally, realizing that revenge means nothing if she is gone. He feels helpless, questioning whether his voice is even reaching her heart. Panic takes over as he rushes out, determined to find her before it is too late. Rain begins to pour near Karakuen, the very kind of place Tsubame would choose when she wants to be alone. The gloomy weather mirrors the day everything first began to fall apart. Tsubame stands high above the ground, counting down to her final step. She convinces herself that falling is the same as flying, that she can escape her pain and reach a peaceful place. In her mind, this jump will erase her weakness and allow her to start over as someone strong and untouchable. Eagle finally arrives and calls out to her, but in that very moment, she steps forward and leaps. As she falls, she feels a strange calm, believing she is about to be reborn into a stronger version of herself. But suddenly, everything changes. In an impossible twist, their bodies switch mid-crisis. Tsubame hears her own voice screaming for help, while she now stands safely in Eagle's body. She looks down in horror and sees Eagle trapped inside her body, falling. Eagle struggles in her fragile body, unable to move or save himself. Both of them realize too late that this is no simple miracle, and time is running out. Eagle reveals his true intention, making it clear through his actions that he wants to save Tsubame no matter what. Even while trapped in her falling body, his focus remains entirely on her safety. He looks toward Tsubame, now in his body, and feels relief that she is still alive. He urges her through his expression and determination to act quickly, trusting that his own body can endure the impact just like it has in the past. Tsubame, standing above an eagle's body, hesitates for a moment as fear and doubt flood her mind. She reflects on how she has always seen herself as ugly and worthless, believing that the happy version of herself is something distant and unreachable. Yet, a small question begins to form within her: if she continues living despite the pain, could she one day truly smile again? At that critical moment, Eagle loses his grip and begins to fall completely. Instinct takes over, and Tsubame rushes forward without thinking. She grabs him, holding onto her own body, and realizes just how fragile and light it feels in her arms. The reality of her condition hits her harder than ever before. Even in danger, Eagle tries to redirect her thoughts. Through his desperate effort, he suggests that if her pain is caused by someone like Masato, then she should fight back instead of giving up. His extreme words reflect both anger and helplessness, showing how far he is willing to go for her sake. Tsubame, however, quietly rejects that idea. She understands that her struggle is not just about Masato, but about her own deep self-hatred. She admits internally that what she truly despises is her own weakness, not just the people who hurt her. For a moment, she even wishes the body swap could last forever, believing that living as someone strong like Eagle would solve everything. Eagle refuses to accept that view. He strongly affirms, through his actions and resolve, that Tsubame is not weak at all. From his perspective as a fighter, he sees her as one of the strongest people he has ever known. In that moment, his belief becomes the only thing standing between her and complete despair. Masato continues his normal routine at work, acting calm and professional on the surface. However, his behavior quickly reveals a darker side when he privately messages a female coworker after hours. He praises her work and asks her to come alone to a second office, insisting that she keep it secret from everyone else. The request immediately creates a sense of discomfort and suspicion, hinting at a pattern of manipulation. Later, the two meet in a quiet and isolated space. Masato tries to maintain a polite and composed attitude, pretending that he simply has something personal to discuss. However, the situation shifts when the girl presents a folder she discovered on the company's shared cloud system. Her tone becomes serious as she questions him about it, clearly testing his reaction. Masato quickly denies any knowledge of the folder, attempting to distance himself from whatever it contains. Despite his denial, the girl remains firm and begins to explain what she found. The folder is filled with numerous private and disturbing videos involving different women, suggesting a long history of hidden misconduct. Among those files is one particularly shocking video showing Masato attempting to harm his own wife. This revelation breaks the illusion Masato has been maintaining. His calm demeanor starts to crack as the weight of exposure closes in on him. The girl directly challenges him by asking if he has seen the contents, making it clear that she already knows the truth. Before he can regain control of the situation, other co-workers suddenly appear and physically restrain him, preventing any attempt to escape or manipulate the situation further. The tension escalates as the truth becomes public within the workplace. The girl then connects the final piece, identifying Masato's wife as Tsubame Iwakura, a former employee who left the company after marrying him. This information reframes everything, turning what once seemed like a private matter into a clear pattern of abuse and exploitation. In this moment, Masato is no longer in control. The secrets he tried to hide through intimidation and manipulation are now exposed in front of others. The power dynamic shifts completely as he is forced to face the consequences of his actions, while the people around him begin to understand the full extent of what he has done. Snow falls quietly as Tsubame and Eagle walk together, reflecting on everything that has happened. Tsubame shares that she recently receives a call from a lawyer and learns about Masato's situation after being removed from the company. Instead of facing complete ruin, he quietly starts working at a subsidiary, which leaves a bitter feeling behind. Even though he is no longer directly in her life, the emotional scars remain. Tsubame admits that she still relives those painful moments in her dreams, remembering the fear, the violence, and the helplessness she once felt. These memories continue to haunt her, making her question her own strength. Eagle listens carefully and relates in his own way. He understands what it feels like to be weak and frustrated, recalling how that same feeling once pushed him toward professional wrestling. Through discipline, training, and persistence, he learns to overcome his limit. He encourages Tsubame not through empty comfort, but through a mindset of steady growth, suggesting that strength can be built over time with effort and consistency. His perspective begins to influence her, offering a different way to see herself. Tsubame responds with warmth and sincerity, expressing feelings she has come to understand clearly. Her words carry a sense of acceptance and emotional clarity, showing that she no longer sees herself the same way as before. Their connection feels stronger and more grounded, no longer built on fear or dependency, but on mutual support. Soon after, a teammate calls them over to join the rest of the group. The atmosphere shifts into something light and joyful as everyone prepares a fried chicken party together for Christmas. Surrounded by friends and laughter, Tsubame experiences a simple happiness that once felt impossible. Eagle, still not fully used to direct affection, reacts awkwardly to her honesty, adding a subtle touch of humor to the moment. Time moves forward and 3 years pass. Tsubame finally reconnects with her mother after a long period of distance. The conversation is emotional, filled with surprise and lingering tension, but it also signals a step toward rebuilding their relationship. Her mother, unfamiliar with Tsubame's new life, reluctantly travels to Tokyo to meet her, though she shows little interest in the world of professional wrestling. Upon arriving, her mother feels out of place and questions the setting of their reunion. She struggles to understand why Tsubame would choose such a path, especially one that involves physical combat. However, as the event begins and the crowd gathers, her attention is drawn to the ring. At first, she reacts with confusion and discomfort, especially when seeing the intimidating presence of wrestlers like Eagle. But everything changes when she realizes that one of the wrestlers stepping into the ring is her own daughter. Tsubame is about to have her debut match. Despite the audience underestimating her, her mother's attitude shifts completely. She begins to defend Tsubame with pride, recognizing a strength in her daughter that she had never truly seen before. Watching closely, she senses a determination and confidence in Tsubame that challenges her previous doubts. As the match begins, Tsubame reflects quietly. Since that life-changing day, the mysterious body switching has never happened again. For a moment, she wonders if she once depended on it, but quickly realizes that she no longer needs it. The person she has become is someone she genuinely appreciates. Standing in the ring, surrounded by energy and expectation, Tsubame embraces her present self fully. The story closes on a note of growth, strength, and acceptance, marking the beginning of a new chapter in her life.